had to meet, and so many contractors were talking of too much bottlenecks, and maybe you have to bribe administrators. Maybe they have 10% when you are taking contracts, and some were putting the Anglophone crisis as an obstacle. But it was very surprising that a place like Boya and Fako division, that is a bit peaceful, and some parts of Southwest, the execution of the public investment contract was just about 0%. Yes, budget was still about 0%. But if we go to a place like Manu, where the Anglophone crisis is still hot there, they have gone above 50%. Those are some of the worries that were discussed. So at this time, we shall be looking at the problem that surrounds this budget. So at this time, I want to begin with you, Mr. Kedia. What do you think should be the problem of these contracts, this budget being executed perfectly? And we are getting to the end of the year.
Firstly, there is a problem which all of us Cameroonians, we know that the Trouble region have the ongoing armed conflict, which have definitely reduced the rate of construction. And secondly, talking about the aspect in here in Boya in particular, we lost a former mayor, and we also know that the outing of the present mayor talked about the fact that the coffer has a shortage of about 1.something billion. So those are the problems that the councils are facing. However, it's a new administration that has come up with a new mayor. So we should empower them, support them, and ensure that they move successfully.
Administration is continuous, Mr. President.
Yes, yes. You see, when a leader leaves, it is true that administration continues, but there will definitely be some loopholes, not only in Cameroon or in Africa, but in the world at large. So we definitely have that problem. So we should do everything possible. What I'm saying now, I'm not talking because maybe the council is being led by the CPTM. No matter the political.
So we are talking about Southwest and maybe
South
beyond.
General, yes.
Yeah, we have opposition council also.
Most of the elects are from the CPTM too, but that's not my main objective. I'm just saying that there is a crisis, and us, we are supposed to be conscious, and that is the main reason why we need to exploit the outcome of the Grand National Dialogue, which has put in place some billions for reconstruction, which we need to exploit. Thanks to our father, the head of state, who has always been there to hear the cry of the
Are you saying to exploit this billion into private pockets, or because up to now, getting to the end of the year, so much money that is put in place, but projects are not ongoing?
Most of the contractors have laid down their problem. The money has not been embezzled, the contracts are there and they are very clear, but it has not been executed. And these contracts owners have given their point. Most of them, which has tabled the issue of the ongoing crisis that has definitely hampered them from executing the projects. So those are it, but the truth is that the contractors are still there, accountability is still to be done or is being done, and it is the right of all Cameroonians, I mean all, irrespective of sex or political party, to ask for accountability.
Okay. Let me come to Mr. Item Armstrong. You know, if we look at it, a place like Fako Division, a place like Boya, that we can say it's a bit peaceful. This execution has gone nowhere, but if we look at Manu Division, we are told that they have gone above 50%. How do you compare these two?
Some moderator, at times, if you talk about Manu going above 50%, it is more, to me, it is not real, because
those are statistics given to us by
statistics. It is statistics. Mm-hmm. But you know, one difficulty we have in Cameroon is the issue of corruption.
Okay.
And documents can be signed, everything finalized, and percentages given, everything done, while on ground, nothing has been done. If you ask me particularly, I will say that Manu, where I personally am a son from Manu, I've not seen anything substantial, except you are telling me that the contract that were awarded to Manu were too trivial, that could cause no significant impact to the area within that time. Otherwise, saying that the execution of the contract is above 50%, yeah, I will tell you purely on this platform that is a lie. Because Akwaya, where I came from,
yeah,
in short, people don't even move towards us. At one point, that road was completely blocked by not by the Amber Boy, by the government troops. I could not go to my area because you don't cross on the S.W.R bridge that was linking people from Manfe to Akwaya.
So these statistics are fictitious.
So these statistics are too fictitious. At times, like I said, it is just traditional with the government of Cameroon and with most Cameroon authorities, especially the municipal authorities, that once a contract is given, the municipal authorities have a percentage. The contractor, there's even some contractors that before a contract is launched, they have already secured their position. When election is going on, they are galvanizing support and doing everything because they want to get the position of a contractor. And once that is done, when the money comes, everybody has a share. My worry is that FECOM does not really, I don't know the mechanism it puts in place before giving this money out to the contractor and the Ministry of Finance as well. Because FACO, as you said, has a particular level of serenity than mine. But FACO, you will realize that during the term of the mayor, late Mayor Ekema, he focused more on security concern than on executing contract. I'm sure.
No, that's Boya based now. When we are talking of FACO.
I mentioned the mayor of Boya. I did not mention the mayor of Limbe 1 or mayor 2.
Okay.
Limbe 2. That's why I say the late Mayor Ekema focused more on security concern. It is evidential that anybody living in FACO, if you ask what was the achievement of the late Mayor Ekema, they will tell you that it was security concerns. And that is why at one point it was so hard that he has to even surpass the position of the president, that even if the president speaks, nobody is holding a conference in Boya. So therefore, FACO, it is just natural that in the whole of Southwest, if any constituency was giving you figures of 50% execution, they are blabbing and they are just trying to steal from the government coffers. The Southwest and the Northwest were so insecure that no contract could be taken place. It is evident that many contractors were being killed, many were being shot when they were carrying out public contract, and many of them abandoned it. They did not abandon it because they loved abandoning the contract, as Mr. K just said, but simply because of their high level of insecurity. And the question now should be whether the budget is still intact, that the contract will be executed or it has been embezzled. Because as well, it can be that most of this contract has been signed and endorsed, that have been carried out, and the budget have been
maybe on the nose it has been done.
Yes, that is what obtains.
So Akwaya,
you can, when you leave from Manfe to Akwaya, there is no route linking the headquarters. There is no route.
But maybe paper has it.
Yes, paper has it that there is a road, and there have been several contracts. I mean, so from there have been several contracts. Even as I speak, there are contracts that are still on ground, but they cannot be executed because of the level of insecurity. Some have been executed, but it is not. So what we are saying here is that to say that Manfe or Manu particularly has a 50% execution, Manu has been the epicenter of this crisis. Even having the president of the Ambazonian, who is Kabese Seko. So they have not taken the crisis lightly too. It has been an area where they say ghosts appear and cause wonder. So I do not see any ghosts, but this has been some of the issues. Manu has not been secure for project. When you are talking about project, you should not center yourself in Manfe, that's in Manfe town, because that is not Manu. It's Akwaya, it's Upper Bayan, it's a remote job, and it's all the other subdivision. So it is vague to say that I have a 50% execution. Contracts in the Southwest and the Northwest has not really been well executed.
Dr. Busi, we have situations where maybe if the financial year ends and nothing is being told to the public the whereabouts of these monies, and there are times, it is earmarked that some of these administrators take this money, put in banks to make more money. What's your take about that?
Mr. Moderator, Mr. Umwambo Williams, I want to say that is quite unfortunate in our country. Looking at a financial year, a fiscal year that is ending, and especially in the northwest and southwest region, go to some of these councils where it concerns local governance. You will see that most of the mayors, even first of all, are not in their areas. Okay. Let's be honest, the CPDM man is here, and we can say that most of the mayors in the northwest and southwest, especially in the suburbs, are in the center town. What are they doing in the center town? How are they executing the projects? Please, how are they executing the projects in their own environment? To tell you that this money are being embezzled by some individuals and put into their private coffers, state money, is embarrassing. Look at the Bamenda Babachu road. It's quite unfortunate. This road on paper, government knows that the Bamenda Babachu road was already tagged.
Well, we started hearing of ring road since 10 years ago.
10 years ago, recently you could see the representative of the Prime Minister and the President who came for the talk in the Northwest and Southwest concerning reconstruction, the minister. He passed through that road. How did he feel that road? We have seen places, we have seen instances where cars are stuck in Babachu. People sleep there overnight, Mr. Mujito. It's painful to see that government money, taxpayers' money in this country is being wasted. And look at the Menchum Dam. We have been talking of the Menchum Dam in this country for several years. And those are local projects that could help generate electricity in this country. Just the Menchum Dam can generate electricity for West Africa and Cameroon over years. Why are we not? A kind of marginalization. Why is it that we don't love our country? But recently, in other areas like in Douala, government and other well-wishers also help, and we could see the Douala bridge, the second bridge, which we appraise that is a positive thing in Wuri. Yes. The President of the Republic, His Excellency President Paul Biya also. We could also appreciate him and France and other bodies for the Wuri Bridge. And I think that the development is good. And I want to end by saying that, Mr. Moderator, in this country, we really have to be honest. Looking at Boya, just patches of roads were done around Sandpit. And we have a lot to do in this country.
Yeah, recently we hear
we are pleading. I saw the
Mm.
mayor talking of issues of lights from my 14, and I wish that if we could have street lights, the monies are there. If Boya is peaceful, as you are claiming, let's have street lights from my 14 right up to Bukwango, and everywhere should be generated with lights.
Not as I'm claiming. Okay, I'll come to to Mr. Njomo Cyril. We are looking at this, but what's your take about this record we have as far as Southwest is concerned?
Having listened to my previous panelists, I have the weakness to think that they don't know what is public investment budget. For close to 10 minutes, people have been talking about local council, and I'm asking myself, what is the local council role in public investment budget? No, we should be more serious. So, in FACO, the head of the public investment budget for this year is no other person than Honorable Malomba. Mm-hmm. Okay, and in other years they give it to any authority of the region. So what happened this year is a money that is allocated for notably basic needs, schools, mm-hmm. water, electricity, and to an extent roads.
Okay.
Now, trying to zoom into what happened this year, one could just say that there was no school, for example. And so provision for chalks, new boards, benches.
The money should be available.
Yes, was not a necessity. But I cannot just credit Malomba, Honorable Malomba, because I know him. But I think that it's because of his weak leadership.
No, he just came.
I start questioning myself now that, is it that he's unable to act, or the people who put him where he is were not open enough to make available the funds?
Zanjomosiri, this is his first meeting with the people, and he made it clear that he would take them to court if these projects are not realized. And, you know, he just came into power. You know, there was another person before him. So he has just been there for months.
We are talking about a magistrate, a young graduate magistrate that really believes so much in the judiciary arm. And so that was the best justification he could give, should in case the contract, the investment are not done. But let me tell you that it goes beyond that. Truly, money was sent, just that it was, redirected for a different purpose by a mentor.
Okay.
I can say that as a politician. And because of that, he did not, he could not supervise anything done, because the money at the point that he wanted to do, it was not there. Then pressure again coming from the grassroots. We did not have people really pressurizing for needs. The only time I saw him come to Boya here, and he was acting then as a parliamentarian, was when he came, gathered some few civil society, and they went to the neighborhood. As we talk, the potholes that has been cited here has been done by Soweda in a different form. It has nothing to do with the public investment form. I don't know whether you're understanding me. So, what has been done in other regions actually is because of proactive leadership.
But don't you think that...
Because for a leader, I know that you come from Bokwango and that you might have some sentiment from Honorable Malomba. I personally have met him, I've chatted with him, and I know he's a good man. But I must tell you, for somebody who wants to act, because if that money by November 30th is still in the coffer, they will refund it. Because it is in the budget of the states that is voted every November session of the parliament.
Okay.
So if that money is not employed, then next year, this is what happened. And that's what so many people should understand. If you refund the total money, they will understand that your region is developed and that you don't need money. I don't know whether you're getting me.
Yeah.
So it is really urgent to say that once again, a young person has failed us. How can you be reporting 6 months into, up to 8 months into a mandate, reporting a zero budget investment?
Okay. Let me come back to
please, before we go to
yes,
politician of LDPC, which are my good friend. I like to see youth in politics because I've been a youth leader, Jeunesse Bientôt, and I like to see youth who are very engaged to change their country. Mr. Moderator, I want to say that Cameroon is vying towards decentralization, which most people don't want, and they are advocating for federation, and you see the separatists saying their own stuff too. But I want to say that when you look at the public investment budget, we should not only focus on parliamentarians alone. Because we're talking of decentralization. It's a public investment budget.
And they are just supervising.
And it has been located to the local governance. It's not only parliamentarians that mostly engaging into management of funds of public investment budget. But if we concentrate only on parliamentarians, I'll tell you the truth. You will see that in this country, most investment in this country has been done by councils, not even parliamentarians. So in those days, I used to see parliamentarians construct bridges and roads. Local roads and bridges, just not even tarring the roads, but at least they are struggling to do community service to construct bridges in their locality.
Let me ask you.
And those things, if you say public investment budgets only focus on their 8 million that they give them to come and develop,
we are talking
it's not like that.
It's not like that.
It's not like that. Flow by it flows but by the government.
That's what I'm saying. It's a government money.
It's for government, different
projects,
administrations that are in the region and in the
like all the delegates,
the office,
okay, let's say for instance all the delegations. Yes. In the southwest region, we have different delegations. We have basic education, secondary education, vocational training, health, and so on. When you look at such monies in this country, we are talking of COVID-19. Okay, look, the delegation of health, regional delegation of health, have they given us accountability on how they have fought COVID-19, Mr. Moderator? Look at the delegation of basic education. What happened in Meme, where a divisional delegate took about 11 million and he was recovered. So these are issues that are not, it's a bizarre to us because I've not seen the Some of our administrators have not seen the issue of patriotism in them, to be candid. Most of them are not patriotic. They are just there for their private interest. It's high time we become patriotic to be our country.
Okay. If you look at this recent, or let me say, let me use Honorable Malumba, who has just been 3 months into service, and he's having his first meeting with these people to make sure that he knows what is in detail. Do you expect him to would have made sure that, or like he said, he has not done so much to make sure that this work or this investment is met up? Did you see that analysis to be concrete?
Not really. You see, when you come to power, when you are elected, you have your project, you come to power, you strategize.
Okay.
And when you strategize, you implement. 3 months for me is too much. It's too small to analyze and criticize or condemn someone. 3 months is too small. However, him, for instance, having a meeting with them and promising them sanction if they don't execute it, for me, is a 100% good start in the first 3 months of his mandate. That we should applaud, that we should support, and we should not be critics. I still say this, Cameroonians have been much more of critics rather than empowering their authorities. When you empower your authority, you give that your authority that full support to make him work with feel the support of his people. We cannot start to analyze somebody for just 3 months. No, it's too early. Secondly, he has even called the people up, promising them to flog their buttocks. That is by taking them to court if they don't execute it. That is what he should do. He
should judge by the end of the year.
When he has done that, we continue now to see his follow-up and see how it is being executed. And to conclude, it is difficult to analyze the work of an elected official when his mandate is not yet over. When somebody has a mandate of 5 years, you wait till the 5 years. He may give his campaign promises and decide to complete all of them the 5th year. So that is how it is.
What do you have to say about this? So many bottlenecks, in executing contracts and so on, all the offices to contact before you realize, and some of the contractors were complaining. What do you have to say about that? Is the administration not over?
Many people think that being in a ruling party and representing a ruling party is to say lies. No, we have corruption. That is true.
Okay.
It is a problem in Africa. It's not particular in Cameroon. And when you look at the classification, Cameroon is not the top. So it is an African problem. Now, this goes back. I always bring it back to the citizen. The citizen should be able to blow the alarm and ask for accountability, thereby giving pressure to their elected official to follow up.
Okay.
Going back to these companies that have taken a project, if a project is 100 million and you decide to do your lobbying behind, that is not the problem of the citizen. Citizens want their work to be done. If you decide to go do your lobbying and you lost what you are losing, that is your fault. You must execute what the people paid you for. Okay,
we should be summarizing this program. Let me begin with you. Maybe we'll still come back. If you look at it very well, the chiefs on ground, some of the administrators are supposed to be playing their parts to make sure that if something is not done in their environment, they come up strongly. What's your analysis with what you've been seeing on ground? Have they been working?
Because of the fact that the House of Chiefs was removed, their powers have drastically reduced, even though there is a plan, especially during the national dialogue, when they advocated that it should be brought back. At this point, the position of the chiefs in advocating for change within their community is meager because there's no legal backing.
No, they have the right to call. Let me say, if a road has to pass through Moliko, the chief of Moliko has to be conscious and aware that, okay, this road has to take 3 months. If it is not done, he has the right to like face the administration that what's wrong in my community.
You know, you are asking a question, but he's facing the administration as who? As a chief or as as a person who awarded the contract to be carried out. Those are what we call whistle blowing.
Okay.
Yes, when you blow a whistle, it is now left on the onus of the administration to decide on whether to hang down the person in charge of the project or not. And what obtains on ground is that most of those administrators had already played their games. And whether you do whatsoever you feel, in as much at one point you might come there and they rub your mouth, and you also go and sit. So, but the chiefs in Cameroon particularly have indulged themselves in politics to an extent that their powers in questioning the development within their community is weak, because they cannot independently decide, since they have interest in most of those things. Those people in charge of executing those contracts are politicians, and if you are following a politician, you should answer yes to him, because by the time you question him a lot, you start. That is why you have heard we have had issues of chieftaincy, especially in Boya, where they dethrone this one, they bring up this one, they want to push this one aside, and at times you start questioning who has the powers to dethrone a chief, who has the power to remove a chief from power, and those kind of first class chief, second class chief, and whatsoever. So their role in regulating the development within their communities has been weak, if you ask me. But permit me say that Mr. Cyril made mention of the fact that we are making as if we don't know what is a public investment budget. I feel that if you have knowledge of something more than the other, you should go ahead and present, and you stop condemning the others. Let me learn. Yes. I'm not against anybody, but I want to make a clarification.
Very correct.
That is why in class everybody cannot take first, because some people are well knowledgeable in a particular area of life than others. Therefore, when you look at the parliament, parliamentarians have what we call parliamentary package.
That was it.
And their parliamentary grant is to go to their communities in the context of Cameroon.
Yes.
To go to their communities and carry out the little projects that they can. And within my knowledge, what parliamentarians have been doing, that package is so small that they cannot carry out any reasonable project. So what they do is that they buy materials for students and give, and in few cases they
buy things in schools.
For example, in my constituency, my parliamentarian had to sponsor people to write a public concourse with his parliamentary grant. That is 4 million. Yeah, that was.
I know it's about 8 million.
He removed 2.5, and maybe 5.5 is remaining in his pocket. You cannot question him because
they give money in church for harvest and so.
Mr. Moderator.
That is none of my business.
Mr. Moderator.
So
no, I'm saying something.
That is what I'm trying to say. So
those are their private life.
The parliamentarians represent the nation. They represent an individual or a constituency. So when they are voting for a budget, they are not voting for a budget, they are allocating on behalf of the state. That is why at one point they can call a government official, like the minister, to defend his budget. And that government official is representing the constituency, the municipal council. For example, the minister of decentralization and local development can be there to represent the councils. In that case, if he's defending a budget for the council, he is that's the public budget that
for the council.
The councils too. So we might not have knowledge for everything, but I am not saying that I might be 100% correct. But we should have a way, a more diplomatic way of trying to correct one another on a platform. Thank you.
Okay, after this, we shall just please have a minute each to conclude this program. Let me read.
Let me take
please.
Mr.
Moderator, you are the one.
Please. What I have here. Wait, please. Okay, wait. Yes. Excuse me, please. The last question I had here is giving contract to. Please. The last question. Please. The last question I had here really is under Siri, the giving contracts to member of parliament, please. I'll come to that after that I'll conclude. Okay, you see, good evening to the panel. I love the topics on desk, and please permit me if my questions are useless, but answer. Do you think those in charge at the local level of this project can embezzle the money for projects without the kings and queens in the capital city? Everything is done at the capital, I guess. So to my opinion, the people to be blamed, 99% should be those at the capital. Have they ever come to the field to look what is going on there? Okay, thank you so very much. Please, your contribution, you can never be foolish or what you described. You have really contributed well. We are happy the contribution. That's what I even wanted to ask. I think that's the last question on that series, that contracts mostly are given under people who are so connected. If you see maybe the construction of roads, you see a honorable will take the construction of roads and give it to a subcontractor and so on. Don't you think that this should be one of the reasons why we face these problems?
Mamo, we say a lot of things with a lot of mixed up. Yeah. Okay? Up to 2015, when the Ministry of Public Contract came up, you could say like that and you are right. But today we have a whole ministry headed today by Tabamara, who has moved from Sonara today with track record of management excellence. So we should not be able to make this kind of statement. An issue on chief.
No, we have a contract recently. I
would like to give a small comment on it.
Before you give the comment,
let me blow a small win on it before I push forward my argument to say that in the Nkunki division, one traditional ruler has been attacked to a correspondence from the division, from the senior divisional officer, because of his regular outing on social media decrying the governance situation in Cameroon. And it's coming at a time when we're questioning the House of Chief stake. And we want to say that the 1970 law on chieftaincy, 1977 law, thank you so much, on chieftaincy actually gave administrative authority a certain level of power to dethrone and enthrone chief nationwide. So but some administrations are really abusing this right, especially when you attack their almighty gods. I will limit the discussion there to denounce what happened in the Konki division. Back now to the issue of not exposing your colleague before making your argument. I totally agree. Okay. Just Thank that in 2017, there's a question that came on Enam. They asked the panelists, can education go without authority? Okay? Can you educate people without being the one who leads? And I want to leave it because we are soon running the program. So as we are going back home, I will answer your question. As we are going back home, we should be reflecting over it. Public investment budget. I have personally been tender for so many companies, including Sonara. Okay? In the process, you can actually, they can call for a bid. In this particular time, I've regularly read the Cameroon newspaper, and I've not seen any bid call from the Southwest. You see, you have to call for a bid, and people tender. Then before you go through the process now, and you allocate, you offer the bid to a particular company that meets the specifications.
Maybe I've been hearing that on radio. Okay, now please, all of us have 40 seconds each to conclude, and I want us to react lastly on this, all of us. You know, a member of parliament came up at one time and said, when they talk of what is giving them at the parliament to take back to their area for development, if they give money in church for building of a church, that's also development. And so I said something there, you were arguing, so I want you to react on that. So you have 40 seconds to
Mr. Moderator, please, I will not go into, people have the
okay.
Please, I'm
conclude.
People have the right to go to church and give their
because you were debunking the fact.
Please, I will not debunk, please, I don't want to go to church matters here.
Okay.
It's their personal life to go to church and contribute in God's house. It's very good, please. It's their personal life. You should not go to their personal life. So what I'm saying is that looking at the public investment budget and so on, there's also what we call the tender board. And many a times the SDO, the senior divisional officer, opened this tender board to contractors, and you see, for them to at times you see contractors that will, even if they say that to construct a road, somebody will bring a project for 50 million, another person will write a project for 20 million. With the tender board, they might decide to take the person of 20 million. At the end of the day, we do roads that are not sustainable, that are not even good. Like, look at the road of Boya. When the president was coming here in Boya, what happened? Today we still have potholes on the roads because we were so fast doing the roads. But I want to end by saying here that looking at COVID-19, the government of Cameroon needs accountability. And I want to look at the University of Boya and appreciate the University of Boya. A lot of kits were bought in the University of Boya, and a lot of testing kits also. Like it was talking about a laboratory. The University of Boya is testing member of staff now, and I want to appreciate I want to appreciate the Vice Chancellor of the University of Boya for his hard work, and also face masks also came to all members of staff in the University of Boya. I appreciate that, but we need, like what the Prime Minister is saying, we need accountability at the level of the ministers and everybody that has been involved in the COVID-19 issue. COVID-19 is real, COVID-19 is dreadful, and let's also know that us as human beings, we have individual responsibility.
Okay.
I'll end by saying that some of our panelists, they should know that we're all matured, and when addressing people, we should not address people with words that are threatening.
Mr. Item, your conclusion?
I want to thank Mr. Moderator for this sensitive topic. I wish to say that on the issue of public contract, the name public means that it is for general interest.
Open, yeah.
That is why at one point, once a contract is, a particular project is conflicting with an individual interest, they kick you aside and consider the general interest. They can only compensate you. So with this knowledge, I want to call on our public authorities who are in charge of executing this public contract to know that it is not an individual thing.
Okay.
So it will be needless at one point to say that you are taking money to give it to the church. Then God can only receive what is coming from your mind, not what is coming from that, what is due to other people. When I am crying of no road to go to somewhere, I'm crying of no water, I'm crying of no that, and you take money and give it to a church where maybe a selfish pastor will take and buy a limousine and be moving through the flying.
No, they were demolishing maybe makeshift structures, and maybe churches were broken down, and it came a time when even honorable were going to offer to build churches. That's why they make such a
the nation has a lot of money.
Okay.
Every day. You don't know the amount of money they drop in offerings, even though they pay pastors and they carry out some kind of development. And I want to also call on the government of Cameroon to try as much as possible to allow individuals to contribute in the development of their country. Because it's not only the public, in short, it's not only the government that is in charge, should be in charge of carrying out projects. Okay. There are some people who might see a project like in my